Well, talk about your journey too, right? Like you saw the winner's bracket. You have to win so many less matches if you win on the winner's side. And we saw it yesterday, especially with Estia, and we saw how, you know, bad it made him feel, rightfully so, when he was 1 win away from going to Tokyo, backwards to having to win 2 more matches and just barely missing out, right? So it is heartbreaking to not win here, and aggro decks can definitely be one of your fastest ways to get there.
Okay, so, wow, it looks like Fantasy let the Dragoncraft deck through, and this was something that was very common in Europe. But talk to me a little bit about that before we get this game really rolling here. Why do you think that's being let through?
Well, one of the reasons I could see is that PDK can sometimes suffer from very high aggro. If it doesn't get its early game removal, if it doesn't get those early before followers, it can just feel really rough.
I mean, sometimes it just feels like Ramp Dragon that doesn't have followers that can kill anything early in the game, right?
Yeah.
And you just can't stop the aggro, so.
And Fantasy is doing what he does best, and is jamming some face.
That's right, and he's not going to stop. This Night Horde is just going to create more presence, a wider board, no breath, or actually, I'm sorry, there is Breath of the Salamander. It's hiding right under his play points. I was going to say, without that card, he's in trouble, but this will definitely help him. But now, with 2 Caraboss in hand, Botalz is never not going to be on a clock this game.
Yeah, the clock is ticking, all right? But he will have the Breath of the Salamander to clear this board. So he was like, you know what, I'm just going to take this damage, and that's it. I'm just going to take it, and I'll have that breath. But now, I mean, being at 10, and the next turn, there's a Caraboss. The next turn, there's a Caraboss.
Most likely with room or enough time to play the second one, yeah. I mean, your healing is pretty good in Dragon, I'm not going to lie. Fervor's great, Sibyl's great, but when you're taking an automatic 2 every turn, kind of mitigates the effects of those cards.
Yes, definitely. And he's opting to just do this. I don't know. Like, he is gonna have to Evo to take this out, of course.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
that
you gotta
Caraboss,
clear.
Yeah, you gotta clear. That Caraboss is gonna come down. Now he does have the Dragoon Scyther to answer it, though.
He does.
He does have
and
that.
I don't think it's the body that's going to matter, though. That's not the issue at the moment. However,
no.
just for those of you out here who are not comfortable or haven't played against aggro blood very much, there's only one goal against aggro blood. Stop them from dealing damage to you. What I mean by that is you clear every single follower they play, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. If they are on the play, you kill their followers, just do it. Okay? And Botalz is following that game plan to a T. Other than that, pray. Pray that you're not dead before you can kill them. Yeah.
Yep. And I hope you went to church for this match, because it can be rough, man.
A lot of times when you're facing against an aggro deck like this, or even aggro sword, which Fantasy is also bringing, it's just, okay, hopefully they're not on the play, and B, if they are on the play, hopefully I can stop them at a point in the game so that I can start taking over, because a lot of times it feels like you can't. It just landslides into you.
Right. One thing about Caraboss, it's a damage soak. Like, that's actually one of the... Oh, and he draws another one.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. So anyway, it's an 8/8 on Evo. You gotta kill it.
You have
gotta kill it. And the fact that he drew another one is kind of bonkers, man. Crazy.
This is crazy. So now, honestly, all you have to do for Fantasy's turns is just add 2 damage to anything else you can do that turn. Because that's how Caraboss works. And next turn, see, actually, though, it's kind of risky to play Caraboss here. If you play Caraboss, then you're literally just saying, all right, Forte kills me, whatever you have kills me. So this is actually a good spot that Botalz found himself in. The Carabosses were nice, but they didn't find any early, like, you know, great sources of damage. Now, Vanya plus Summon Bloodkin is something, but there's no Razor Claw to go along with that, right?
I wouldn't play it. I would just dance at death and just have him eat 4 and be like, please don't have Sybil.
or Forte or Genesis Dragon, right? Like, or anything like that.
Or any card that could kill me. Don't have any card that could kill me.
Botalz isn't playing Genesis Dragon, so Fortes might be the only thing that he can draw to outright just win the game next turn, but he doesn't have access to that card just yet.
I think Dance of Death. Put him at 6.
I think you have to.
Ray.
Yeah. Also, I guess I didn't mention this, but if you're aggro blood and you've played Carabosses, you also have to pray, because you're giving up your turns to essentially have a game-ending effect, but you need to draw cards that will actually end the game. Like Blood Wolves, Razor Claws, you name it, and he just doesn't have them yet.
And oh, there's a Razor Claw.
Okay. Here we go. So this is the turn.
Actually, yeah, if Botalz cannot win, which he cannot win right now. Oh well, he just got a 9, so they just put him out. That puts him out of lethal.
So he'll be at effective 7, Razor Claw effective 4, Vanya plus Bloodkin is effective 2. That's not lethal.
Oh, it's not lethal. So 2 off. That Fervor, man.
Yep.
That's not gonna do it there. Fervor.
A little bit of life gain. So here's a question, Aya, and I initially thought of this as like a reason why he banned Shadow instead of Dragon, is because he feels like his aggro matchups are really good against PDK, which I believe they can be. And Mid Shadow has wards, and it has Saris, right? But Dragon has Fervor and Sybil. I don't know which one I'd actually rather play against. Obviously, I haven't done as much testing as Fantasy has, but I would assume that the heal is more potent than just a few wards that Mid Shadow could be playing.
I would rather play against Mid Shadow, just because I know that the only healing I have to worry about from Mid Shadow is Sarah, right? The only healing I gotta worry about, you know.
Right.
But I have to worry about 6 cards that my opponent has that can heal.
Right.
I have to worry about 6. That's
6.
a lot of cards. Okay, that's a lot of cards that I have to worry about. Okay, if they throw off his lethals, I gotta sit here and think. All right, I can do lethal if he doesn't heal. Oh wait, he healed. Okay.
Right.
Oh, it was a Sybil. You know what I mean? Like, it just feels really rough. I would rather have fought Bishop. But
Sure.
I'm not Fantasy.
Just a consideration. I know what it feels like. I've played PDK too, and especially against aggro sword, it feels like if I'm on the draw, I just lose. Like Council of Card Knight's too good. Aggro Blood, I haven't really played that much this season, so I'm not sure its matchup versus PDK, but of course Fantasy knows best, and he felt like the matchup was okay. But as we've said, for time and time again in the past, you might think you have a good matchup, but it shows up in these tournaments that PDK just finds a way.
Yeah. PDK is an incredible deck. It has basically everything a deck would need and or want.
Yeah. Heals,
You
ramp,
need-
aggro, control, mid-range, storm. Yeah. Card draw.
Is every mode of play that you could want in one deck.
All right. Right. But rightfully getting nerfed. We'll see if it actually changes the deck, but I'm glad to see at least it being hit just a little bit.
Hello. Right. I think we may still see some.
Sure. Now, one thing I want to make mention of Seraph. So we don't see Seraph often anymore. It's kind of like, a player's choice type deck. But what I will say about the new Seraph decks is that it's a lot more consistent than old ones because of the addition of Globe from the new set. It actually just gives you this pure engine where the only things you're drawing with Globes is either card draw with the Sacred Pleas or Seraph itself. I believe most of the decks have gone away from the Tribunal aspect just to verify that they're going to get in Statue Seraph on the turn that they need it. So it makes it super consistent. You don't need to play a lot of the clunkier cards that were in the deck before. It's just super to the point. I play Seraph, I win the game. That's it. And I try to defend myself along the way.
Well, Seraph has an unbelievable amount of card draw.
Yeah.
He traded. Oh, okay, yeah, so he can play that board. And this actually makes his next Priesthood of Cudgel not as good.
This, I think, is just game. I don't even know if Botalz can come back from this much aggression.
Yeah, I don't see an Ancient Lion Spirit in that hand.
Yeah, there's no Ancient Lion Spirit.
Yeah. No, I mean it does something.
This coupled with another Evo next turn into a Caraboss. Caraboss is at its best versus Haven decks because Haven, as much heal as they have, it's not as much as Dragon and the Razor Claw.
Yeah.
My goodness. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And get domed, bro.
That's right.
Yep. Fantasy doing what fantasy does best. Jamming people in the face.
I'm gonna say, like I said before the match, the Seraph deck is really gonna be the thing that Botalz, you know, either had prepared enough to deal with aggro, or he's gonna fall because of aggro. And Fantasy's next deck is even more aggressive than this aggro blood deck. So,
yeah. Well, Botalz has that man face. Like there it is.
There it is. There's the oh my god, my opponent just played Caraboss face, right there, in live and in color.
Yep. Botalz, thank you for giving me that facial expression, man.
And Fantasy not giving anything away, giving us the top of his head.
He's giving us literally his dome. Like,
that's his play style. That's what he wants to show us.
Yeah, he's showing us the top of his. Like, oh, go ahead, brother. Okay.
All right, so Fantasy evening things up, and I believe has an amazing advantage going into this last game. I really want to see. I mean, we know that Botalz has heal. He has Star Torrents. He's got what you would expect in Blackened Scriptures and Healing Prayers and things like that. You know, he's got the tools, but I think they just cost too much in comparison to how much damage for cost all of the aggro cards are. So, like, if, for instance, Roundtable Assembly we've talked enough about, Ephemera, Novice Trooper, you know, even Taji / Quickblader, you know, just more damage than can really be rectified by the play point cost of the Haven card.
Now, I do want to say that as a sword player, I think I would rather be going second in this matchup.
Just to have more evolution orbs?
Just to have more evos, push more damage.
I don't mind it. I mean, we saw what happened with more evos on the blood side of things. I can't imagine it's that much different for the sword side.
Yeah. If anything, might be even better.
I'll lead the charge.
That's true.
Man. Look at the damage that's gonna be coming forth. Okay.
Ooh, second scripture, perfect.
That's what he wanted.
Sometimes you waver, right? You're like, I have a Blackened Scripture. Do I save it for their 2-drop? Do I keep it? No. I got my second one. Now I don't even have to make it.
You get rid of it yesterday, okay? You get it out of there. Pretty sure this is going to eat the other black.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no way he's not playing this black. Come on, Botalz. There you go.
Now, this is the awkward turn, right? Because if Botalz was on the draw, he'd have the first Evo for that Priest of the Cudgel, but now his next turn's not looking too hot. Of course, Sacred Fleet can draw into something, but as it stands, we'll want to draw something else here.
Well, Acolyte's Light.
Yeah, he's got 2 of those in the deck.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I like that card.
Been coming back a little bit.
Hey man, give me the throwbacks. I'll take them.
Here we go. This is where Fantasy just says, I don't care about anything you do for the rest of the game. I will be playing followers, and I will be hitting you in the face.
Yep, I love it. Do your thing, man. Jam 'em.
Ephemera is absolutely crazy. Very hard to deal with.
Now, let me ask you, how do you feel about the new change? It now costs 5.
We're together forever.
I like it. I like it a lot. I think Ephemera on 4 is too good with the way the power creep has been happening with the cards. And I think it needs to cost 5. Honestly, I need that card to be unplayable because it is, in effect, an amulet that you can't really kill that just pumps everything you play after it. I don't like that effect being in a deck like Sword. It overpowers all of their cards. Just look at how much damage was dealt that turn. Botalz healed back up to 16 and just took 8 damage. For 5 play points. That's unreal. Unreal.
Yeah, it is pretty unreal. I think Fantasy just won the game. I think Fantasy just won the game. Albert, Taji, next turn, don't.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage total next turn on turn 6.
Don't! He's like,
yep,
no!
And you can see it on Botalz' face. You can see it.
Yep. Sorry, man.
Sorry, man. So Fantasy moving on and qualifying, sending his teammate Botalz downstairs.
Fantasy is in. He is the first North American competitor to make it to the World Grand Prix off of a fantastic read on the tournament meta. And we were talking about it a little bit about, it's a I know that you know that I know, right? And I think it's so important. Time and time again, these top players will stress to you how important preparation is. And that's identifying what your opponents are going to be bringing, and then knowing what you want to